So Rebecca, while we have you here, I'd love to do a quick tour. There's some items here in City Hall that I'd love your words on meanings.
Hello, welcome to Native Minnesota, a podcast about the Native American experience in Minnesota and beyond. I'm your host, Rebecca Crook-Stratton. I'm the Secretary-Treasurer of the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community. This podcast is a project of Understand Native Minnesota, a campaign to improve the narrative about Native Americans in Minnesota's K-12 schools. We have a great guest today, the Mayor of Prior Lake, Kirt Briggs. My tribe has worked hard to establish positive government-to-government relationships with our nearby cities and Scott County. Our collaboration with the City of Prior Lake offers a great example of how goodwill and engagement between a tribal government and local unit of government can benefit the citizens of both. Mayor Briggs has lived in Prior Lake, Minnesota for more than 20 years. He was first elected mayor in 2016. He is a deeply involved, passionate leader. Under his direction, the City of Prior Lake and our tribe have worked together on several major projects over the years. In this episode, we talk about the importance of partnership, and we also share examples of how our tribal and city government have worked together in innovative ways for the benefit of the greater community. And for the people watching this video version of this episode, Mayor Briggs also takes us on a walking tour of Prior Lake City Hall, where he had a few special surprises in store for me. You can find the video at understandnativemn.org/podcast. Let's dive into the episode. Hello.
Hello.
I'm really excited to be here today with Mayor Kirt Briggs, Mayor of Prior Lake. We have a long-standing relationship with Prior Lake, and Kirt has been instrumental in moving that relationship forward.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Rebecca, for being here today and also giving us the opportunity to host. It's wonderful having you here in our council chambers, and especially on a topic as important as our relationship. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've got a really special relationship, and I'm excited to kind of showcase some of the initiatives we've worked on together. You've been mayor since 2016, I believe. And we've got to do a lot of really exciting things in that time. Yeah. So I just want to talk a little bit about first the importance of, having those relationships. And for SMSC, one of our pillars that we kind of look at is being a good neighbor. And being a good neighbor means a lot of different things, but I think in this case, it means, having a good relationship, open communication, being able to trust and share and rely on one another for different, services and to partner on different things. So, what does being a good neighbor mean to the City of Prior Lake?
Well, first off, I have said often that we, the City of Prior Lake, couldn't have a better neighbor than the SMSC. And, there's this old adage that not everything that can be measured counts, and not everything that counts can be measured. And I would say the value of the relationship through many good times, as well as to discuss some of the things that at times we need to partner up and move our communities forward. And it's been, quite honestly, a gift to come. I had no idea when elected mayor that it would bring with it the opportunity for this relationship. So, as I reflect back, many of our accomplishments are here for many, many generations that will experience. And I know many of them is what I believe this council will be remembered for. And I know we'll talk about the water treatment plant. But one of the key things I certainly have come to experience is it's important to spend time also on the relationship, just the relationship itself, to your point on trust and sitting down laughing when we can laugh, and also when things are challenging, but to be together.
I think one of the exciting things that we were able to do with the City of Prior Lake is that attempt to get to know each other. The city hosted SMSC, and we did kind of a sovereignty day, for lack of a better term, to really educate those who were interested about the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community, not only today, but a little bit of the history and kind of how we got to where we are today. That was a wonderful afternoon. And can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. It was, the chairman and I had discussed there are so many things that we believe. What is it? It's not what I don't know that's going to hurt me. It's what I know for sure that ain't so. And there were a lot of things, beliefs, as it were, that quite honestly were not grounded in knowledge. So that day was incredible. The council chambers were filled. And there was 3 days of curricula that were compressed and worked on for about a 6-hour time together. The council members that took advantage of that opportunity and myself, a rewarding and important experience. And it was early on in the transition of myself as mayor. And again, it created, I would say, one of the important foundations of understanding that we continue to rely upon today.
Yeah, and having that understanding and trust has led us to be able to do some really important work that not only benefits Prior Lake and the SMSC, but in some instances, the entire region and the county. I think the County Road 83 project was definitely one of those.
Huge, huge. And this is where partnering with the SMSC, where the tribe takes some initiative, and then we have the opportunity to partner, or conversely, where we as a city have areas or projects, initiatives. And 83, County Road 83 was a pinch point in our community. And, from the standpoint of mayor, wanting to be the ambassador and making it as easy as possible for people to visit and experience our community, 83 was a very important road into our community. And certainly it's benefited, I think, all of us, not only from a transportation network perspective, but also from a public safety perspective. Because so often we need to move rapidly. And so fixing what was a pain point in our community not only has brought benefits, as I've shared earlier, today, but long into the future, because that roadbed is built for the many years to come.
Yeah. And our communities are connected in a lot of different ways, and that's definitely one of the connections. I think some of the other fun projects that we've partnered on together, trails, making trails more accessible to all of those in the community so that everyone can enjoy recreation and outdoors. And I think that's been a really fun project too.
Most definitely. I mean, trails are ribbons of parkland that connect us, our neighborhoods, and our community. And we've had the opportunity of partnering with you, not only on segments of trail in our own communities, but also Three Rivers Park, whereby, again, the aspect of this relationship in concert with the county relationship, Three Rivers Park and others, it's really been awesome. Well, as I've said as well, it's amazing what can be accomplished if no one cares who gets the credit. And so often, walking with you on initiatives, somehow, some way, they just seem to occur.
I loved how you just phrased that trails are ribbons of parkland that connect us. I will never look at a trail the same again. I will always see a ribbon every time I see a trail from here on out.
Awesome.
That was wonderful. And I think one of the projects that I talk about all the time when I talk about the importance of Understand Native Minnesota and some of the things we do is the water treatment facility. I mean, that is really kind of the iconic project that highlights this partnership, the cooperation, really, benefiting so many people. And the thing I like about that project is it saved both of our communities millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Yes, and it was better for the environment to partner on that. And I think that providing a utility for, two communities, most cities can't even partner up to be able to do that. And, for a tribal government in a city, I thought it was really just a phenomenal project, and I was glad we could see it come to fruition.
And indeed, Rebecca, that's the project that I am confident in 25, 50 years as the accomplishments that we've enjoyed. That's the one that those that come after us are going to point to. And the importance of that one, and you shared, millions and millions of dollars were saved for both of us. The other thing it did, just the whole aspect, and I'm going to go back to understanding Native Minnesota, the opportunity to do that over water, which gives us all life, to me also that we would partner and collaborate on such an item. The benefits of that relative to diversification also on our infrastructure, our wells, so much around how we take care of Mother Earth, how we use our resources, how we conserve our resources, is something where we have the opportunity through that partnership to learn from you. And that will be enduring long after I'm mayor. And so that, to me, is also a bit of the gift, although it can't be measured quantitatively. That piece will never be lost.
And I love that, it was very forward thinking on both sides, knowing that we're both growing communities and, it's ready for expansion when that time comes. And so I'm really proud of that partnership and that project. And I know you are too.
Likewise, that is the one. And it was something that also provided us with the opportunity for our relationship, receiving awards for indeed that project. What was nice about that, not simply from the recognition, but it also opened eyes, I will say, from other communities that are working in association with their tribal governments as to what is possible. And so that was a catalyst for phone calls and invitations that we received from the League of Minnesota Cities and others. Just how did this start? And to me, it starts with a conversation. It starts with a phone call.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue to what I want to kind of dive into next. And that's, being mayor of the city and, coming into this position, knowing there is a tribal government here, but maybe not knowing a whole lot. What kind of advice do you have for folks in elected positions such as yours as they, look to forge partnerships or build relationships?
Well, the most important thing, and I shared it earlier in our conversation, was what you may think is the reality is most likely not the case. It was funny, Rebecca, when I was running for mayor, I saw a bumper sticker that said, "A closed mind is a wonderful thing to lose. If you're going to lose a mind, lose a closed one." So in a relationship, it's important that you go into it with an open mind. And you invest first in the relationship, getting to know. And for us, what that was is we had been elected. This is November. We had not yet been sworn in. And the tribe extended to us a full day invitation to come out and meet. And we had a full day. Well, that was also an opportunity to start the relationship, but also learn. And quite honestly, to replace perceptions with reality. And that is essentially the advice or the recommendation I would give to not only other municipalities, but in transition from leader to leader. Many things are sustainable. Some things are lost. And so we must continue to pay attention to the relationship, as any partnership needs attention to it. And that's where, to me, it's been most rewarding personally, and also, I would say, for our community.
Is there anything in particular that sticks out that maybe you didn't know about tribes that now you have a better understanding that you would want to share with everybody else?
There were a number of things. As I shared at the outset, I knew so very little. Concept of sovereignty. What does it mean? What is the interplay around sovereignty with local government? So the whole concept of what this means. Had no concept at all. And to me, that actually, being blank slate, not knowing, but being curious. I just remember the very first meetings. Everything for me, I was a sponge. So, and many of the things that I thought would be so, were not. And that really is it. So, keep an open mind.
Absolutely. Mayor Briggs, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and chatting with us today.
My pleasure, and look forward to seeing you back soon.
Absolutely.
So Rebecca, while we have you here, I'd love to do a quick tour. There's some items here in City Hall that I'd love your words on meetings. And because I can say that there isn't a meeting I don't have in City Hall where I don't see these items. But also while we're here, I do want to point out, if you're ever here in the fall, you see the Prayer Lake logo. what's hilarious, Rebecca, is when the sun comes in this way, it creates pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns right here in shadows. So to me, it was always amazing. Come October, we have shadow pumpkins right here in City Hall.
I love it.
So you'll have to come back.
I'm very
in
excited
the
for
fall.
this tour.
So of course, City Hall was built in 2006. And many of the names that were involved in
See us up there.
the funding, around, yes, everywhere we see. So here, of course, just to situate us, here we are in City Hall, downtown Prior Lake. So we are right here. And of course, our communities, I would point out, of course, our joint water treatment plant, which is right here, is where our joint water treatment plant is. Of course.
And there is our government center.
And one of the things that's, again, our community is one of lakes. It makes us relative to infrastructure. So both the biggest gift are our resources and our greatest challenge are our resources, because pipes can't go through and roads can't go through lakes. Hence our partnership. How do we work around these God-given challenges is what brings us into close connection. But there is our community.
I love it. That's a great map.
Coming up on the right is one of the early resorts. So Prior Lake was a resort community. There were 11 resorts on Prior Lake back in the day. Many of the visitors came from Iowa. This building still stands today. This was home of the Prior Lake American at one point, but also name escapes me. Of course, that water tower long since removed, and that building stands right on the corner of Main and Dakota today. And again, one of our many resorts.
Thank you. You need a
Go ahead and grab
fancy
that.
card.
Excellent. How are you? Assistant City Manager Olson. Oh, no. So here we are, of course, on the staff floor. And the first item I wanted to share with you is this. So certainly the conversations preceded both of us. And this is 1993, of course, former Mayor Leandrin and presented by Tribal Chairman Stanley Crooks. And while I was not here for that presentation, I believe the room we're going to go into now, we were presented with at the same exact time. And that room is our Wachipee conference room. So these pieces.
Oh, wow. Who did those?
So they have inscriptions. I was hopeful you might share. I think I know who all three are, but I was going to ask you.
Well, you definitely got Glenn.
Is this not? And again, I don't know, so we didn't get.
Yeah, because I don't know who that is. And that person looks familiar, but I don't know who it is.
So the date stamp on these is actually 2007.
Okay.
And I don't know what the event was when we received these, but they have certainly been here, are here.
I don't know who the artist is. I love them.
I don't want to pull them off the wall to check to see if there's anything on the back side.
That's okay.
Even though, you know what?
Oh, look at you. Nope.
Nothing?
Nothing. Gotta make sure it gets back on.
Have you got the, look at the cooperation.
Yes. We got it.
Nice
Oh,
coin.
those are beautiful.
So I wanted to have you come up.
I don't recognize the other two people, but I mean that has looks a little like Amos.
That
So, but I don't know who that one would be.
and it would be great for us to maybe, if there's anyone who might know,
Yeah.
I would love that provenance or that. I certainly,
Yeah.
met with, no, spoke with Glenn.
Oh, I miss both of those people, Stanley and Glenn.
So that is
I love it.
our City Hall tour. And
Thank
again, like I
you.
said, thanks so much for coming, and hopefully we'll see you here soon, or we'll see you over at your place.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing those with me. I absolutely love it.
My pleasure.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for the Native Minnesota podcast. For more episodes, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also visit our website, understandnativemn.org, to learn more about our campaign's work to improve the Native narrative in Minnesota's public schools.